My name is Tom Solomon. I'm here with 350.org New Mexico. So I'm here to talk about climate change and divestment. As New Mexico's premier university, UNM has a moral obligation to protect its students' future from the increasingly real prospects of dangerous climate change. Yet instead, the UNM endowment continues to invest in the fossil fuel companies that are driving global warming and which spend hundreds of millions of dollars every year lobbying Washington to oppose the very actions that will avert these dangers. Today I'm presenting a petition signed by 120 faculty and staff at UNM and by another 2,200 students, alumni, and taxpayers, calling for UNM to divest its endowment from fossil fuel company stocks. I also have a letter signed by 8 state legislators who have joined us in making this call. We ask the UNM Endowment's Consolidated Investment Fund to immediately freeze any new investments in fossil fuel companies and to fully divest from these stocks within 5 years. In recent months, warnings about the dangerous effects of climate change have become increasingly urgent, from the World Bank, the IPCC, by NASA, and ominously even the Pentagon. And on March 10th, 29 U.S. senators held the Senate floor for 24 hours around the clock, making an urgent call for climate action. Both Senator Udall and Senator Heinrich spoke at length, each pointing to our now 6-year-long severe drought as a sign that dangerous warming has already begun. The urgency is this: CO2 in our atmosphere is now higher at 400 parts per million than at any time in human history, and it's rising 2 parts every year and accelerating. Scientists say that our atmosphere can withstand only another 500 gigatons of this greenhouse gas and still remain under 2 degrees C of total warming. That's the limit that all developed nations agreed we must stay under to avoid dangerous climate change. Yet, global CO2 pollution continues at over 30 gigatons per year, a rate that will exceed that limit in only 14 years. When that happens in 2028, today's UNM freshmen will be just 32 years old and will be locked into at least 2 degrees C of dangerous warming, and there's no sign that it will stop there. This is why divestment matters. Despite the fact that we know our CO2 danger limit is another 500 gigatons, the shocking fact is that the combined fossil fuel reserves declared by energy and mining companies themselves is worth 5 times that amount. 5 times. Credible organizations like the International Energy Agency and the World Bank tell us that burning even most of these excess reserves would drive warming not only past 2 degrees C, but to 4 to 6 degrees C in our children's lifetime, and that this will lead to heat waves so extreme, sea levels so high, and droughts so severe as to threaten human civilization with famine, massive climate refugee problems, and armed conflict. These excess coal, oil, and gas reserves, these supposed assets...
I'm giving you an extra 30 seconds. I interrupted you earlier.
I'm sorry.
So if you wrap it up in the next 15, 20 seconds.
Okay, I can't do it in 20 seconds, but so let me say this. These excess coal, oil, and gas reserves must become stranded assets because they cannot afford to be burned and leave us a livable planet. And we call on the UNM Foundation Board, which the regents of the UNM Foundation Board are the 2 bodies that approve the endowment's investment policies, 2,300 students and faculty, and 8 state legislators call on me to join me in calling on the UNM to revise these policies so they commit to divestment and are aligned better with the other sustainable practices of this great university. This is not only smart investing, it's also vitally important to the future of human civilization. UNM can be a leader in this. We call on you to think of your students' future and the future of all of us and join in this movement to divest. Thank you.
As was just described, unless human beings are going to go against the grain of the overwhelming scientific consensus and say that we can burn all of these assets that the major fossil fuel companies have in the ground and on which their value of their stocks is based in large part, and the great majority of, we're going to have a collapse of fossil fuel prices at some point in the next, hopefully soon, if we wake up to what the reality is. And it's better if you're invested in an investment bubble to get out early than to get out late. So just for the financial security of the foundation, we should divest now while the prices are fairly good to unload these investments, then wait till other people go first, and then you'll be left with a stranded asset. Unfortunately, these companies, somebody's going to get left holding the bag, because there's a value here for something that cannot have a value unless we value nothing of our civilization and our life. So I want to encourage you also to adopt a strategy to join this global movement to divest from fossil fuels.